Okay, hi everyone, we're gonna get started. So welcome to Web Lab. This is a web development class. If you're not here for a web development class, you're in the wrong place. If you're listening on the live stream, hopefully everything's fine and good to go. So first of all, what is Web Lab? So we're a web development class. We'll introduce our team in a second. So I'm Miss Claire. I'm one of the co-presidents of Web Lab this year, along with Dan, who's our other co-president. We have Nick, our internal staff member, who's been on staff for many years. And we also have Akshay, our academic chair. Helen, who's not here, our other academic chair. Alvin, who's also not here, but he's our treasurer. Ricardo, our sponsor chair. Noah, our tech chair. Nick, our publicity chair. Kevin, our operations chair. Tan, our historian, he's outside right now testing the live stream. And Vincent, our TA, and Alan, our brother TA, who will join us in our class. So yeah, so first of all, important reminders. Please, if you haven't already, please register at portal.weblab.2. It's where we get your emails and where you can submit your milestones. So if he's already registered on Lexis, for credit, that's fine. But please also register on the portal whether you're taking it for credit or not, just so you can get our additional illness. And also please join the Piazza. The short link is at web.2/Piazza. If you have any questions outside of the class, please come on Piazza. It's easier for us to keep track of Piazza rather than email us. And yeah, we try to respond in very few minutes. So Piazza is a good resource. And if you're here in person, it's probably here right now. Please attest daily and do the test testing. So if you test positive, obviously please don't come to class. Feel free to watch the live stream or record the action and one time. Yeah, so basic logistics, we'll be on here, so we'll also be live streams right now, and we'll also be recorded if we can't make it to lecture times. And they're not mandatory, so we don't take attendance, but we do encourage you to watch all lectures, whether live or in your own time to get the most out of the class. And the competition itself, so then you might hear the competition, it's not mandatory, but all the by the way, slides will be online. So you don't need to take notes right now, yeah. Okay, so the competition is not mandatory, but if you're taking a class for credit, the requirements for credit and competition are the same. So we do encourage you guys to fall into the competition rather than to just chat. And we'll have live help and workshops. The first workshop is today. You can enter yourself on the queue on weblab.2/queue, and weblab staff members will come over to help you in person, or if you're listening remotely, you can post this link on your ticket and the workshop staff will explain it and join the meeting. And so during class, this is a pretty fast paced class, and people will have questions, which is great. I know some people are sometimes scared of asking questions in class. Obviously, we encourage you to ask questions in class, but if you don't want to, we have our questions doc at weblab.2/questions during class. If you're confused about something, please just put it on the questions doc, and staff will have the doc open and try to answer it. So if you're confused, please don't just sit there and be confused. I want to help you that the rest of the lectures will make sense. Yeah, and all the questions docs are from previous days, obviously it's the first day, but from previous days, if you want to reference some old questions, either that someone else asked or that you asked, you can go to weblab.2/old questions. And Buka is like, okay, we'll demo it later, but it's like the name, it's the name of like this turtle that like a staff member told us last year, something like that. And basically, it's actually I can share it right now. How is it what? Where is it? Okay, so this is Buka, and it listens to questions on the questions doc. So when you ask questions, the more questions you ask, the happier Buka will be. Right now, Buka is like a mutual expression. So when you ask more questions, the more happy the turtle will be. And also sometimes he'll echo your questions. So it's really cute. So please ask questions. We like questions on the questions doc. Yeah. Okay. Back to the presentation. I'll pass it on to Dan for the course overview.
All right. Hey guys. Kara already introduced me a little bit, but I'll repeat now. Yeah, I'm Daniel. I'm a senior, and this is my second year teaching web development. All right, let's jump into a course overview. So the first week, we're going to walk you through the entire process of building a web app from front to end. So we'll be working on an example website together and going through all the components of a website step by step. In the second week, what we're going to do is we're going to go through more advanced stuff. So, for example, we'll talk about security, advanced ways to sort of style your website, make it look pretty, etc. And that's also when our sponsors will come and give their guest lectures. In the third week, there's going to be more classes. All we're going to be doing is coding. So we'll still have office hours, we'll have hackathons, so opportunities for us to come help you code. But week 3 and also week 4 are just focused on coding and getting together your websites using the skills that you've learned in the first 2 weeks. Also in the 4th week, we'll be doing the final competition. So everyone will be submitting their websites, staff will be grading them, and we'll be giving you all feedback, as well as judging the ceremony and awards. I think the biggest award for first place is around $5,000. So there's a lot of money to be competing for, and we look forward to seeing what you guys can build. Everything, all that is done on weblab.mit.edu/schedule. So you can always reference that if you need it. Okay, so what are we going to do? We're going to take you end to end in this class. We're going to teach you everything from building servers that sort of manage all the processes going on in the website in the background to the front end, to the client, which is the actual page that you see in your browser. We're going to teach you the whole spectrum of skills, building the entire stack of a website. So one thing to quickly realize is that the world of websites out there, it's enormous. You can run the gamut from things like Doge 2048 to vast websites that require lots of engineers working on and having lots of users as well. So social websites like Penguin or Facebook, which employs tens of thousands of employees. So with that in mind, I'll pass it on to Claire to tell you guys how all this works.
Yeah, so I guess many of you might be asking, how does all this work? That's why you're here, to learn web development. So we'll just give a very, very basic overview in this Kickoff lecture and like over the courses and all these different areas of the stack. So right now, if you don't understand all the terms right away, that's totally fine. This is just a very, very broad overview of what's going on. So what actually happens when you access a website? Like when you type in facebook.com in the URL bar, what actually happens behind the scenes? So the client, which can be, you can think of as like yourself, you're basically communicating with the server, in this case, Facebook, and like we can think of it as a backend. You're trying to get information from the server. And then the server returns with some web page files that you actually see on your screen. On your program, probably like Chrome or Safari or Firefox or whatever you're trying to use. And yeah, the server is what stores and serves the website. So I'll pass on Dan to talk about the web page files themselves.
Yeah, thanks. So in a website, it's going to be composed of a few main components which we will walk through. So the first thing to talk about is HTML. You can think of this as the structure of the website. In a human body, this would be like the bones, right? So HTML is a way of structuring your website, saying, okay, we have a header, we need to have a nav bar, we need to have a login place, all The next thing that we're going to teach is CSS. CSS is a way of styling your web page. So it's a way to modify the colors, the text, or sorry, not the text, the fonts, etc. Ways to make your website look prettier. You can think of this as like the skin as far as body, and that makes it look the way it is. And finally, sorry, not finally, almost finally, JavaScript. So JavaScript is a coding language. It's how a website sort of logics its way and figures out what it exactly is doing. So JavaScript will be moving components around the page. It'll be checking to see if your logging is valid. It'll be sending messages back and forth between different components of the website. And then there's assets. So these are just images or videos that you're going to put into your website. In this class, in particular, you'll be seeing a lot of dog-related things because as staff, we do that sort of stuff. Okay, so what are we going to build? I mentioned earlier that we were going to build a sample sort of website together, right, to walk through that process of building a website. And what we're going to build is we're going to build an app called Kickoff. So let's open that up and there is what it's like. And all of you can access it by clicking on that link as well. So Kickoff is is our budget social media website. It's our ripoff of Facebook or Meta, I guess it's called now. So when you go there, you'll see just a bunch of posts from users, and you can also comment on these posts. So you'll need to log in order to post your own content or comment. There's also a chat. We'll build something called Chatbook, which will basically teach you how to implement live chat, as well as the framework and the basics for implementing any sort of live communication.
Okay, so our major milestones, the milestones in this class are the assignments that you will actually be graded on. There will be other like smaller homework assignments that we won't really collect, but we do encourage you to complete those as well if this is your first time doing web development. But the milestones are the actual things that you actually have to submit on time to get credit for the pass/complete. So the first milestone, milestone 0, is due on Wednesday in 2 days. Don't worry, you don't have to code yet. This is just for ideation. So basically, we want you guys to come up with a list of 10 ideas for your the website that you want to build, and you submit it to us, and we'll give feedback the next day. And the second milestone, milestone 1, is due at the end of the week. And this is also no coding yet, but this is after you receive feedback from us, narrow down your choice to what your top choice, and then we want you to flesh out what the website will actually consist of, like what pages you want, like the functionalities, and like if you have certain like mock-ups of what you want your website to look like, that would be great. And this is due at the end of the week. So we want you to sign up for slots. We'll send that out later. Sign up for slots by Friday, and we'll have milestone 1 project pitch presentations over the weekend. So please have at least one member of your team available for the project pitch presentations on Saturday or Sunday. And the next milestone, milestone 2, is due quite a ways away. It's on Tuesday, January 18th. And this is the minimum viable product. So this is actual code that you want to turn in. This is by no means your finished website, but it should have like the basic components all there. And like if you have a few bugs or like UI isn't fleshed out yet, that's totally fine. But this should be like the minimum viable product of what you want your website to be in the end. And the final milestone is your final website. And it's due the last week on Wednesday, January 26th. And basically, this should be like your final product. Like there should not be bugs in it. There should not be like things you still want to add later on. I mean, it's fine to do, but this is what we'll be using to grade your website and what we'll be using to judge your website. So this should be like the final product for this class. And so now you're thinking, what actually do I need to build for this class? So we want to build a dynamic website that's supported by backend. It's okay if you don't fully understand what this means yet. You will by like the end of the week. But basically, if you think of a lot of people have like personal websites on like github.io, those are like static websites, which is the opposite of dynamic. So you might notice that on those websites, you can't really interact with them. It's just like static text, static images. You can't really like send messages or log in. So for dynamic websites, we want to actually be able to send data back and forth using our server. So that's the difference, one of the differences. And another thing is personalized experiences. So if I log in on like Catbook and I post something, my view of the website should be very different than if Dan logs in on Catbook and posts something else. And also some minimum security requirements. Don't worry too much about that. We just don't want websites to like be like anyone can hack into it and like do random stuff. And also just original design and implementation. We don't want you to copy like websites you already know online. It's fine to reference them, but it should be your own original code and your original website. And also in our class, we're going to be using GitHub. Some of you may already have experience using that, which is fun. If you don't, we'll go over it in like literally the next lecture. So yeah, pass around to Dan for things you cannot build.
All right, so Claire just mentioned a bunch of things that you have to do. I'm going to tell you about some things you cannot do. Okay, so first, you can use a website building platform. There's Drupal, WordPress, or Squarespace. You might have seen ads for these on YouTube or something. These are not allowed. We want you to use the techniques that we taught you to build your website from scratch. The second thing is we don't want you to be reusing any part of a previous project that you made. The point of this class is to learn our framework for building websites and to actually do it from start to finish. It would be unfair to other people taking the class if you used part of the previous project. The third part, we don't want you to be outsourcing the work. We want this to be your original work, something that you can be proud of, you can put on your resume. So don't ask someone else to build your website for you. Do not hire people, don't hire trainers. This should be your own original work. And finally, don't do anything malicious with your websites, please. This is a friendly class. We're trying to teach people how to bring joy to the world. We don't want to see any malicious things in your website. Okay, if you have any questions about anything that we've talked about so far or anything that comes up in the future, again, just a friendly reminder that the Piazza post, the Piazza page is always open, and you can also check out our web page for FAQ and general details.
Okay, so in terms of judging, if you're entering the competition, these are the main axes that will be judging your website on, us and the sponsor judges. So functionality, like how well your code actually works, if it has any like bugs or like things, and usability. So how easy it is to use your website. It's like built really nicely, but like it's really hard to like figure out like what you're actually supposed to do. That's like not good for usability. And aesthetics, like how well your website looks to the general public, and also concept execution. So how well your website solves the problem that it's actually trying to solve. I know these are like a little bit vague, and they're meant to be vague. Like you have pretty much a lot of freedom in making like whatever website you want, but these are just like the main things we'll be looking for in your finished product. And these are also included in the about page.
Okay, so I know you mentioned it a couple times, but I really want to stress this point. So where do you get help from? This class is going to be extremely challenging at times. And That's why we have so many staff members ready to help you. And we have all these sort of systems in place. So if we move on to the next slide, there's a lot of different places for you to get help, but the big one that we want to stress is Piazza. So please post on Piazza if you have any questions. We pride ourselves in our response time. In previous years, it was on the order of 2 minutes. So let's please take advantage of that. Ask a lot of questions. This morning, I was flying in and I landed, it was like 5 a.m. and I messaged the chat like, hey, we have this bug, what about that? And Nick was online and he was fixing it. So there's always people online, always people available to help you. Otherwise, the course website, there's a lot of info there. We'll be hosting office hours both in person and virtually. So if you can't make it, if you're sick, please join virtually. We'll have systems in place for that. Those are 7 to 9 p.m.
Yeah.
So Mondays and Wednesdays.
Mondays and Wednesdays, and then some weeks it's like adjusted because of like holidays or something, but just like check the schedule.
Right. So usually Mondays and Wednesdays, 7 to 9. You can find updated times on the schedule every month. So please look at that. And finally, I'll talk about the hackathon. So the hackathon basically is this thing that we do. We do it once in week 2 and once in week 3. The point is for you to come and just grind on your website with us available. So if you ever get stuck, we can just walk up and help you debug or get to anything that you need there. It's 6 hours long. We provide food, drinks, in a normal year. We'll see if you can get so it's basically extended office hours. I think it'll run from 7 p.m. to 1 a.m. Again, once a week. And yeah, just get as much stuff done as possible.
So what else is there to Web Lab? Well, there's a lot to Web Lab. Hopefully you will get a lot from this class, whether you're a beginner or an experienced web developer, like UI design, learning version control, just taste of course 3. Some of you here might be course 3, some of you might not. And a first experience in creating something from scratch and more. And most importantly, Web Lab is not a classic MIT class. We don't have P sets due, like it's on pass fail. So like you don't have to be stressed about like, oh, I need to get an A in this class. As long as you meet the requirements for the milestones and submit them on time, like you'll pass. And if you have questions, obviously always post on the question doc or on Piazza. We'll always be happy to help. And in terms of like requirements for the website, like we went over some basic requirements, but that's basically it. Like you make whatever website you want, like accomplish whatever purpose you want. And as core staff, like we want to help this class be a good experience for you. So if you have any feedback, like we'll send out a feedback form every day and you can fill it out if you have changes that you think might be helpful for the class. Again, we have the live questions doc at weblab.2/questions. If you have questions during lecture, please add them to the doc and Piazza. And yeah, so last we will introduce the theme for this year. The theme is not supposed to restrict like your website in any way. It should be pretty like open-ended, but we hope this theme can like guide your website to like, so the topic for your website should be able to connect it to the theme in some way, but it doesn't have to be like it's not like a very restrictive, like literal like connection. So some examples of past themes have been around the world, remember the future, beyond the horizon, back to the roots, press any key to start, craft your own blank. Last year was tag yourself. So you can see like these are like pretty vague, like you can make a lot of kinds of different websites according to these themes. So our this year's theme, we're gonna introduce it in the form of a video made by our lovely publisher, Nick. Yeah, it's very, yeah, well, I'll just play it. Hopefully audio is working. Wait.
This is shit, I can't decide.
Yeah, honestly, what is that thing again?
No, it isn't bad as last week, right? Like we solved one of the questions already.
So I just need to wait. I just can't do that.
You know what? I could really use drink right now too.
Wait, yeah. Imagine if we had solo.
Bro, that shit is really cheap. That's sweet.
Yeah, I kind of want some cereal mochi too.
My favorite solo flavor is the cheese liking from Lily. That thing.
That's true. Okay, wait, hold on. This is great and all, but imagine if we had some hot wine.
Yeah, that would be so nice. I love frozen food.
Yeah, what's it called? Yeah, my flavor.
You know what would also be kind of nice? Imagine if we're at the beach right now. Like imagine the weather's a good 75, sunny. That'd be so nice.
Just imagine if it was it would be so cool.
Oh, yeah, but imagine if we had cola in the beach.
Or you can have something that like actually would be on a beach, like coconut juice. Imagine the sand, imagine the water, the sun. What does IAP have to be during the winter? You know what? Really cool. Imagine if it's black.
Like imagine the sun rising and there's I love the clouds. You know what? Yeah, what do you think here?
You're gonna see everything from here. right now.
Right. Okay, fine, but imagine if you could take the class, what would I even do?
Yeah, if I could change the past, I tell myself to start with pizza before the day to do it.
Oh, you did not need to remind me of that.
Yeah, another kid mentioned it. This season. Okay, but how about this? Imagine if we didn't have to do the pizza. Now that would be kind of nice. Yeah, you know what would be actually kind of cool though? Imagine if we had the opportunity to do something really cool, something that would change the world, and we actually had the chance and time to do it.
Yeah, I actually have something that I can want to share with you.
Yeah, me too.
How do we create this cool app? Like, oh, what about? Yeah, imagine if the thing we made actually ended up being really good. Good idea. Good idea. We could right now.
Down.
Come on, let's go.